put it in a salesperson's kind of perspective. A salesperson gets a customer in front of them, and so often, guy walks in, they shake the person's hand, and in their head going, I'm going to sell this guy a car. Mm-hmm. Wrong approach.
So, the big question is this. How will sales professionals and small business owners like us, people who didn't have the best mentors, information, or the best start in life, how will we turn that around and live the absolute best life we can for ourselves and our families because we all deserve it? That is the question, and the Sales Talk Uncensored podcast will give you the answers. My name is David Huffman, and welcome to Sales Talk Uncensored. What is going on? It's your boy, it's the Huff, and welcome to Sales Talk Uncensored podcast. I have a guy that is super awesome. His name is Josh Obercian, and he does fantastic stuff. So he has a hell of a story. He sat down, and of course, much like a lot of my listeners, he's involved in car sales. But he took a really weird journey to get there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get him chatting, man. Like, what's going on?
No, that's how we start. That's nerve-wracking, man.
That's how we start, man. Let's get you chatting. And something too that's special. Like you guys aren't seeing us. No, we're not videotaping this. Normally I do all my podcast episodes via Zoom, right? So he's actually sitting in my kitchen right next to me. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah, this is totally dope. So what's going on? Yeah, I made this journey down to this lovely part of wine country in Virginia to sit with the Huff and eat some barbecue. And
barbecue is like just
it was
oh my
stellar brisket and baked beans. It was unbelievable. So that was worth it.
Try the burnt ends.
Yeah, I should have just eaten that and turned around and left because everything else after that's gonna be a disappointment. But so we're here to talk about whatever this guy wants to talk about. He's in the driver's seat. I'm here to just play nice and talk about sales, life, disappointment, success, and everything in between. That's all it is. You tell me where to start and let's roll.
I like it. So typically what I like to do is I like to talk to successful people, and I like the people to sit down and kind of get to know the person I'm talking to at the same time that my audience is. Now, with you, why don't you tell people what you do now?
Yeah, that's easy. Well, what don't I do right now? I wear a lot of hats in a dealership. I'm a general sales manager at Norristown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And for those of you who don't know, general sales manager is pretty much anything to do with sales, marketing, running a sales team, pricing cars, ordering cars, dealing with angry customers, whatever it is, washing a car. That's what your general sales manager does, and that's what I do. And I wear a lot of hats. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, Dave's not kidding. I took a really funky, bizarre journey to get there, and I have no business doing this job, but I love it, and I think I'm actually starting to get pretty good at it too.
Yeah, so I actually seen you on Facebook and stuff, and that's probably where a lot of people out there are going to be watching, kind of know you from. And something that's really unique is my understanding that you're pretty dang new to the car industry, like only just a couple years in. I remember a story you were talking about, how the sales manager that actually hired you is like now you're sales manager. Like you're actually GSM and he's like the sales manager, and it just wasn't that long ago.
That's true. It's been May 2016 I started, 3 years ago, and I entered the car business coming out of construction as an antidote to my fear of people and my social anxiety.
What do you mean you have fear of people and social anxiety? Are you an
introvert? I felt really awkward around people. I felt small. I felt scared to interact.
I can relate to that, hands down.
So and it was really holding me back. So I really pushed. I said, screw this. I'm going to go take a job seeing a lot of people all the time and having to be charming and such. But yes, it's true. When I was interviewed by a gentleman who was on his first day at that dealership. The guy who interviewed me, he's now my used car manager under me at my current dealership. So we sort of, that's kind of a weird journey, and obviously that could be a really awkward situation, as you can imagine, and it's not, because we got a lot of mutual respect and, I think caring and love for one another, and we have the same mission, and that's really what it's all about. But yeah, it ain't easy always.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you're coming from construction stuff and as a contractor, and you went into car sales. How long were you in construction and contracting?
Better part of 22, 24 years, somewhere in there.
Was it one of those things where you kind of just got tired and burnt out from the industry, or your body was kind of screaming at you like, "Hey, man, I need something a little bit different"?
All of the above. Yeah, there was some burnout. If you think about it, I was between about the years of about 20 years old, 21 years old, and about 44 years old. I looked at that as I'm going to work between 40 years and about 75 or 80 years. I'm going to work till I'm dead, period. That's how it's going to happen, guarantee you. So if I got a 40-year career, I figured I used up half of it in construction. Time to flip the roles, try something new for a second half, chapter 2, whatever you want to call it, try my hand at something else. And yeah, I was burned out, I was tired, I wanted something new. I wasn't feeling it anymore.
Absolutely. So you got into car sales, and you know, it's kind of, you mentioned that you're an introvert and you have social anxiety, which, like I said, I can definitely relate to. Like, as my wife says, I don't play well with others sometimes. And, you know, that's because of my childhood. You know, I couldn't talk until I was 6, and, you know, I was bullied constantly growing up. So I've sat down and I've looked at positions where I'm uncomfortable and where I can grow. Is that something I kind of had in mind when you thought car sales, or was it kind of like, oh, hey, I need something that pays good? And, like, what's the thought process going from construction and career construction to automotive sales?
What the hell is the thought? I can't say that it's a completely logical train of thought. Mm-hmm. It was my father was in the car industry in sort of a different aspect, so I had a little bit of that tugging me.
What did your father do in the car industry?
He sort of had an interesting role. He sold Rolls Royces and Bentleys. He had a place that sold Rolls Royces and Bentleys, and he had a partner that sold the Ferraris and other exotic cars, and he repaired and restored classic cars.
So are you a car guy then?
Yeah, yes and no. Not the same as my father. It's funny. My father went to school for physics and philosophy up in Canada and minored in Russian.
So you're Canadian.
So I grew up for a few years in Montreal.
I grew up in Wisconsin. It's kind of like Canada, right?
Yeah, exactly. Up north, but he told me to be an English teacher. He said, never get in the car business, be an English teacher. So I went to college and studied literature and went into the school of teaching, and we ended up finding alcohol and drugs instead. You know? So that didn't work out so well. But why the car industry? Who the hell knows? Yeah, I needed money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to get in front of people. Yeah, I wanted to figure this thing out. And it's one of the easiest jobs to get. I'm not going to kid you. Job in a car sale. I mean, a lot of places they check your pulse and you got it. Job, but it's
warm body filling a seat.
But it is a really hard job to excel in. It is hard. It's simple but not easy, I guess you would kind of say. Like there's simple processes to success in it, mm-hmm. and all the guys who are hyper successful do more or less the same things consistently. But anywhere in life, consistency is pretty tough and few and far between. So I said, what the hell? I'm going to try it. I'm going to be different. I'm going to crush it. My family needs me to, and I really took to it, and I really love my whole auto family now.
Absolutely, that's a hashtag you use a lot, is auto fan. So you're also a big fan of the Rise and Grind community, big part of it. And talking off mic, you know, for the last what is this? It's almost 3 p.m. Like you got here at like 11:15. So we've been chatting for a couple hours, getting to know each other. It's been super awesome. And something that we have in common is constantly challenging ourselves and always wanting to improve. Do you think that that's the reason why you thought, hey, you know, I'm gonna go from construction and kind of being an introvert, kind of a loner, to something that's completely out of my comfort zone and going into something like auto sales, going into a sales career?
Yes, I love taking leaps of faith. I love taking risks. Most of us are risk averse. I love conquering something new. I love a feeling of accomplishment. I love approaching things in new ways and attacking them from new angles and finding new ways to succeed, maybe that others haven't. I like, I always prided myself when I was in construction and when I'm in the auto industry is I always want people when they meet me to go, you're not like the other people I met at the car dealerships. You're not like the other carpenters I met. I want to bring something new to it. And so, yeah, it was a new challenge. I wanted to do it in my way.
Absolutely. So what was the way that you kind of separated yourself, like when you first started selling cars and way back in the day?
When I first started selling cars, what was different about me, I would say I have this image, and it's still this romanticized image in my head of this like guy with a cape, me with like a cape on, like kicking the doors down to the showroom.
Get a hashtag on your hat and just,
yeah,
superhero brand yourself that way.
Exactly. Just like kicking the doors open and just going, this industry is mine. I'm gonna be a new force in it, and I haven't gotten there yet. I'm working on it. I think in many ways, and my biggest thing was, there's a lot. We're at a weird crossroads of old school and new school right now. There's still a lot of guys left that were doing it in the late '70s, '80s, and even in the '90s when it was such could be a cesspool.
Oh yeah.
And why the negative stereotypes are still there in the car industry, and then we've got all these millennials and young people and people who want to do it right and in the internet age. And I said, I'm going to come in there. I got one goal. I want the people I work with, and I want the customers to be Stark Raven fans. That's it. Somebody walks in the door, I don't eyeball that person and say, I'm going to sell that guy a car. I say, that guy's going to be my fan. If he doesn't buy a car, he's going to be my fan. And he's going to go tell his friends at work.
And that's tremendous leverage. Like you just said, that's one of the key with social media marketing, with content marketing, is creating the raving fans. Creating people that not only buy from you, but market for you as well, which is huge. And the fact that you can do that outside of online stuff and do that in the dealership is fantastic. So you started selling cars in 2016, kind of on a whim. Hey, I want to challenge myself. I want to go out of my comfort zone. I want to make shit happen, right? And something that's fascinating about you is that you are a GSM already. A lot of the guys that are listening right now, and a lot of girls that are listening and stuff, one of the things that they always ask me is, hey man, like how can I move up? Like my goal is to go from a sales rep to a sales manager to a GSM and then maybe a principal or owner one day. Like what's your journey been like?
I can tell you this. I can tell you the nuts and bolts of the journey, but I don't think that's where the real truth lies. I attribute a lot of luck and having partnered up with the right people and the right people seeing things in me, even though I didn't see in myself, and helping me foster the best in myself. But besides that, the truth of the journey is just being that person. They say, don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want.
There's a meme of that. Has a guy dressed like Batman. Well, hey man, I try to dress like the job I wanted, and here I am in HR.
Yeah, exactly. Work like the way you want to get paid. Eventually, you'll get paid that way.
Oh yeah.
And so what I did was, I would we open at 9. I was always there at 7. I'm there at 7.
7 a.m.
Yes.
What were you doing at 7 a.m. at the dealership?
Reading automotive news, walking the lot, knowing my inventory, picking up trash in the parking lot, taking ownership.
There's a lot of stuff that you can do like super early, and I talk to people like, hey, yeah, my shift starts at 12. Like I gotta make sure I'm there by 12, and like you're like, no, I had to be there at 10 a.m. and I'm there at 7 a.m. Like that's awesome.
No, yeah, there's I could talk to service customers. Occasionally somebody would come in the lot on their way to work, just drive by, and they didn't even know we were open yet. Get a sale. I got a couple sales a month from the random person who came in before we opened, from the person who called at 8:30 in the morning before anybody else was there, all sorts of things like that. And why I did that, what really had that take root for me, was I was at my first dealership, and I was within the first couple months there, and I always always had a tie on, everything like that. I mean, I'm here at your house, I'm wearing a tie. I wear a tie every day pretty much. On my days off, I wear a tie. It's just weird.
I have a Batman shirt.
Yeah, he's got a Batman
jean
shirt.
Shorts that are cut off and probably way too short. That's why we're not on camera.
So we're, yes, he wears short shorts. So we're balanced. We're balanced here. But one thing, a customer approached me in the hallway. My first couple months in the business, and they stopped me to ask me a question. And the lady says, "Oh, can you help me? You must be a manager here." Or somebody asked me shortly after that, "Excuse me, are you the owner?" And I thought about that and I internalized it and I said, "Yeah, I am the owner." To myself, I am the owner. I am the owner of this space. This is my house. You're in my house. How do I want to treat somebody in my house? How do I want my house to look when people come to it? I want the garbage picked up, and I don't want, messes out in the middle of the showroom. And I want stuff to be right. I want the cars to be lined up. So I started living that, and then I started getting involved in the how can I help out with the marketing of the dealership? I joined I told you earlier, I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I said, let's get involved in the community. We did a food drive. Let's do stuff.
That's huge. That's really making raving fans. That's showing from a marketing perspective. And me, I'm a marketing guy. From a marketing perspective, that's taking it to the next level. So many people that sit down, I think, especially of dealerships and stuff on those lines. Hey, they're only in it for the money. They only want to make sales. And when you sit down and you show, look, we're more than that. We go out there in the community, we help the community, we care about you guys. That's going to set you apart, hands down.
That's true. And one thing about that is, it's easy for me to think from a moral perspective, like, oh well, I should be doing good, expecting nothing in return, which I am. But I think about if somebody buys a car from me, I think I'm doing some good too, because I watch every day. Our dealership's on a pretty busy street, and I watch traffic backed up at rush hour. I watch thousands of cars go by every day, and I go, they bought a car somewhere, they bought a car from somewhere, they bought a car somewhere, they bought a car somewhere. And I go, I'm a pretty nice guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to screw anybody over. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them if they came and dealt with me, because I'm going to treat them well and give them a fair deal. So I don't see how that's predatory or manipulative or anything for me. Want to get my name out there however possible to sell people cars.
Even better if you can do it while giving back. So many people will sit down and throw money on radio ads and throw money in billboards and stuff. Nothing against billboards. I have a student that just bought one, fantastic for him. But not a lot of that gives back. And if you like it or not, reciprocity is a key factor of influence. I promise that if you focus on giving, if you give value, you will get value.
That's 100%. There's there's the four scenarios when a sale, in a sales scenario, there's four scenarios: customer and salesperson, right?
Yep.
Customer loses, salesperson loses. Customer loses, salesperson wins. Customer wins, salesperson loses, or you both win.
And that's the only one that matters. If it's advantageous, right?
It's if it's not win-win, then it's always lose-lose, because you can't just have one guy win. It doesn't. It doesn't work in the long run. Now, as far as giving back, whether it be like a community thing, what a lot of guys do, they're not patient. And it's important with the sales process is being patient and consistent. So they want to be part of a food drive or a charity ball or something, and they go, all right, I'm going to go to this food drive and I'm going to sell 5 cars. That's the wrong approach.
Yeah.
What you got to do is you got to go to this food drive, then you have to have a charity car wash, and then you've got to go to the local car show, and you got to do all these things and never even worry about selling a car. And then the next thing you know, you're just selling cars. It's just happening all of a sudden. Oh yeah, I met you over there. I saw the guy my friend said he saw you over there. Boom, I saw your Facebook post. And then it just all seems to happen organically, like nature just willed it so.
Yeah.
And that's the secret. And it's patience. I mean, there isn't anybody who's hyper successful who did it overnight. You got to eat a lot of shit before you get there.
Grant Cardone, a lot of guys out there, and I've seen it firsthand. A lot of people are like, well, hey man, I see you everywhere, Huff. You're omnipresent. I don't stop seeing you. I see you multiple times a day. And people are like, well, hey, it's like you're doing big thing stuff. You're kind of overnight success, right? Well, they don't see the 10 years of business failures and everything it took to get me here. Overnight success is bottom line. It takes 10 years to build up. So, what are your future plans, and what are you planning to do with the automotive industry and stuff along those lines?
It's funny you should ask. And when we were talking about, I have I operate my main focus of my existence is the 90-day plan. So I'm looking on a 90-day cycle because I think that's a measurable cycle that's short enough to feel good about, but long enough to have measurable change.
Did you see my post yesterday?
Which one?
Yeah, right. Which one? The people underestimate what they can do, or they overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year.
Yes.
Like this true.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is people, they get too buried in the micro or they get too buried in the macro, and the truth lies in between somewhere. Now I've got 1 year and 3 year, goals, and I'm very careful. I have goals and visions and rough plans, but I can't be too rigid because I'm always open to opportunity. I don't mean like another job necessarily, but a different direction I can help take things, because you never know what's going to come in your path. And if you're too rigid in your goals, you can miss some of these opportunities. And some of the opportunities I've had, the opportunity I have right now, is because I wasn't too rigid, because I was open and I was receptive, and other people were open and receptive. What I'd like to do is, I'm in a pretty big transitional phase at my current place right now, and we're really doing a sort of refocus, recentering, repurposing, getting our stuff straight, and it's been quite successful in the short term. Our last 90-day goal was smashing success. Really, we were able to bear down and get it. So now I'm in the next 90-day. But the long-term plan is to get to grow this place to a certain point, and then be able to help get more dealerships going. I'd like to be, I don't want to say a sales trainer, but I'm working on getting models built that can be repeatable elsewhere.
Absolutely. So I like to help out my audience stuff, and I like to ask for tips. And I think that your 90-day approach and how you break down the goals and stuff could help out a lot of the people that are listening right now. Do you care to dive into that for a minute or two?
Yeah, I'll do my best on this one. And what it is to put it in a salesperson's kind of perspective. Salesperson gets a customer in front of them, and so often, guy walks in, they shake the person's hand, and in their head going, I'm going to sell this guy a car. Mm-hmm. Wrong approach. Totally wrong approach in my mind. Thing is, just be glad that guy walked in the door, because that's an amazing thing he just did for you. He just created an opportunity by walking in the door. So show it on your face and in your body posture and your handshake that you're so fortunate to have that opportunity. And then just act on that. Act like grateful and be of service to that person. And if you just do that next right thing, he'll buy a car. So how that relates to my plans is, so I have, okay, this is where I want to be in a year, and 3 years, 5 years. 5 years is about the furthest I go out. Typically keep it 1 to 3, but I operate in the 90-day sphere. Mm-hmm. What I do is I say, where am I now? Where are we now? Where do I want to be in 90 days? What needs to happen to do that? Make a plan, a written plan. This is what has to happen to do that. This is, the old standard of goals. What is it? Measurable and achievable and
stretch.
A stretch. It needs to be achievable, but a stretch. Mm-hmm. And then it also has to be, there's a time limit on it. In 90 days, I will sell 100 cars at $1,000 per car. Or whatever it is. So what I do is I figure out what's the plan, how do I get there, and then I break it down to, all right, what do I have to do every day to do that? And so every day I start with the note card, and we've talked to many of my friends about the note card, and it's 4x6, 5x7, whatever it is. Date on the top. Here's what I'm going to do today, and it's make sure you update the pricing, make sure you order the cars, make sure you make these follow-up phone calls, make sure you sit with this guy, make sure you eat lunch. Go home early for once. I mean, that'll be on my list of things. All these different things to help me through the day. And as I'm doing those things, if I do that stuff religiously, and I really do it, and I do it well, and I do it with all my intention and all my heart, and I do my best at it, that 90-day goal all of a sudden becomes a layup.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and I'm almost not thinking about that 90-day goal. I mean, I'm checking in, I'm taking the pulse of it, but I'm not really obsessing about it anymore.
You're obsessing about the daily, right?
Because I know my process works.
Mm-hmm.
I know, for me, it's only for me. Everybody's, you got to fine tune stuff, but I know for me, it works. What the hell? What does a sports coach say when everybody, here's the X's and O's. This is the play that works. He's not going, go out there and score a touchdown. He goes, take this, run the ball over here, then go that way, and then throw it to that guy. I mean, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm outlining every single day. It's just X's and O's.
Trust in the process. Trust in the process will get the end result, which is the touchdown and the win and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. If you're I equate it to this. If I shake a guy's hand when he comes in the door and my head goes, I'm going to sell this guy a car, I did two things. First of all, I probably guarantee that I'm not going to sell him a car.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, I did what I call is the equivalent of spiking the ball at the 1 yard line. I'm like, you can't be thinking about that. You can't be getting excited too early. Because you've already skipped all the steps. You've already gotten to the end. And you haven't even put your cleats on yet.
Yeah.
Which is insanity. The wisest thing, and cliches are cliche for a reason. There's a lot of them, and some of them are corny. But the old one. What's the most important step in the process?
Mm-hmm. Step one.
Step you're on. That was my take.
That makes sense.
But step one is too. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I was driving in with my daughter. Step one, because she likes to jump steps. Happy birthday to her, like it's her birthday today and stuff, and love her to death, but she likes to jump steps. Prime example, throwing catch, right? Just throwing a ball. Step one, if you miss that step one and that step and that follow through, right? Well, what's going to happen? That ball is going to go completely exactly where you don't want it to. So absolutely, hands down. All right, so where are some places that people can find you at?
That's a great question. I'm not really out there in the universe too much. I mean, I play around on Facebook a little. It seems to be, that's probably the best place to find me. You can find me in my dealership and come buy a car. That's okay too. Even though I'm at Norristown Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Norristown, Pennsylvania. No, just find Josh O on Facebook. Come see me. I love Facebook so much now, and I never thought I would. I thought, and I've said this before, I always thought it was a place to show pictures of cats and like brunch, and I thought, and maybe to rant about politics. And there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of that out there. What I've done is I've stopped worrying about politics, and I've stopped worrying about brunch, and I've weeded people out of my life, or maybe I've just started focusing and engaging on more positive posts, more content-rich posts, more valuable posts. And so now my timeline's all filled with that. My feed is just people I want to be around. I see the Huff on my feed, 900 times a day. I see Glenn Lundy on my feed 900 times a day. I see all these people I respect, and it's amazing. If you're not doing it all yet, engage. There's such rich engagement to be had there, and it's way beyond what I thought possible. A lot of people, I know I don't have like a marketing strategy for social media. I don't, so forgive me, Huff, but I know you're big into that, and I believe in it, and you're so wise on it. But I got one goal. It ain't hearts and likes. It ain't being the most popular guy in the world. It's back and forth communication. It's real communication. And what's humbled me and baffled me and amazed me and touched me is that the really serious level of connection that is possible in the world. I mean, I'm sitting in your kitchen right now.
Yeah.
Bill Schoenberg drove out from Cincinnati to have breakfast with me last Tuesday. I have people call me, hey, my son's having problems with it. Help me. I'm a salesperson. This is what my manager's doing. what do I do? I have several salespeople I know who were struggling at dealerships. Manager did this, the other salesman did this, they cheated me this way, all this stuff, I'm unhappy. They cheated the customer, and they called me and they asked me for, and guys that I talk to now who are now at other dealerships and are thrilled. Guys that, I'm not saying that I made them change their surroundings, or I made them change their life, but I was able to be in the conversation, and for somebody to ask you for help in any way is the greatest honor and the greatest privilege I could possibly have. To be here right now, what a privilege.
Yeah.
Somebody want to sit and talk to me who, I told you, I've been, I dropped out of college. I spent a little time in jail right after college. I've been broke. I've been through rehab. I'm a broken, messed up disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But this connection that I've had with so many people has taught me that I'm pretty common. Everybody's got so much baggage, and it's okay. That's, in a lot of ways, it's our gift to have struggled and to be here shining bright. I mean, that's an accomplishment, man.
Absolutely.
Not everybody can do that. So what used to be my shame is now my greatest pride.
I like it. Well, thanks for coming down and visiting with me. And again, to all the listeners out there, right? If you guys do want a social media plan, I gotta plug myself. We got Sales Talk Uncensored University. Check out salestalkuncensored.com, and do us a favor if you like this interview, right? If you like the podcast, give it a like on whatever platform that you're on. I know we do YouTube and SoundCloud and Facebook and a bunch of other platforms, but give it a like, a share, and comment below what you want me to talk about next, or some other guests that you want on. But this is another episode of salestalkuncensored.com's podcast. If I can figure out how to turn off the recording. Take care, guys.